You've just apologized to a chair. Not jokingly, not ironically. You bumped into it and the word sorry left your mouth before you even realized what happened. Then, you almost apologized for apologizing to a chair, and then you became aware that you're a grown adult saying sorry to furniture. Welcome to the video nobody asked to need. Some of you are going to watch this and think, okay, that's a little too accurate. And there's another kind of person who watches this, thinks I don't over apologize, and then spends the rest of the day noticing every single time they say sorry for absolutely nothing. Either way, you're here now. So, let's talk about what it actually means to be a chronic apologizer. Not the cute version, not the oh, you're so sweet version. The real thing, which is significantly less charming and rather exhausting. There's a concept in psychology called guilt conditioning. Most people feel guilty when they actually do something wrong. People who over apologize feel guilty when they exist. You'll be sitting quietly, not bothering anyone, and a part of your brain will scan for something to be sorry about. Did you speak too much? Too little? Did your tone sound off? You just said sorry for asking a question. Now you're over apologizing for apologizing. The conversation is still happening. You're just not entirely in it. This isn't politeness in the normal sense. Politeness is a choice. This is a reflex. It's like having a small, anxious creature living in your chest whose only job is to find faults. And it's very good at its job. Picture this. Someone gives you a compliment, a real one. You're really good at this. And instead of feeling nice, you feel a small spike of panic. Your mouth opens and says, oh, it's nothing, or I just got lucky, or, and this is the classic, sorry, I'm sure I made mistakes. You just apologized for being good at something. Let that land. Here's something that doesn't get said enough about this. Over apologizing makes you incredibly easy to be around for the wrong people. Because you never ask for anything. You never take space. You never say no without a buffer of six sorries. And toxic people, they love that. Not because they're evil, because you're comfortable. You're a person who will apologize for their bad behavior before they do. You might think you're being kind, but what you're actually being is invisible. So where does this come from? Not from being born gentle, from being trained. Children don't apologize naturally for existing. They take up space, they ask for things, they cry loudly in grocery stores. That's healthy, that's normal. Apologizing for being a child is learned, and it's usually learned in one of three environments. The first is the unpredictable home. One day, your parent is warm. The next day, cold. You never knew which version would appear, so you learned to pre-apologize, just in case. Sorry became a magic word to prevent withdrawal. It didn't always work, but you kept saying it because the alternative, being abandoned emotionally, was unthinkable. The second is the perfectionist home. Nothing was ever enough. A 97 on a test. Why not 100? You cleaned your room. You missed a corner. You tried your best. Best wasn't the standard. So you learned that you are inherently flawed, and apologizing became your way of announcing the flaw before someone else could punish you for it. The third is the guilt-based home. After everything I've done for you, you're so ungrateful. Other children don't act like this. You learned that your needs are selfish, your boundaries are rude, your voice is dangerous, and apologizing became your automatic response to simply wanting something, anything. Here's the painful part. The threat is gone now, or changed, but your nervous system didn't get the memo. Psychologists who study conditioned guilt describe it as a survival mechanism that once protected you, but now runs on a loop. It's like a smoke alarm that was set during an actual fire and now goes off every time you make toast. The environment changed. You didn't. And this creates a specific kind of loneliness. Not loneliness from being alone. You might have wonderful people around you, but This quiet, persistent feeling that you're carrying an invisible weight that other people don't see. You want to be understood at the level you understand others, as someone who isn't broken, just conditioned. And that's rare. And you know it's rare, which makes it worse because you can't even have the blissful ignorance of not knowing what you're missing. Someone once described chronic apologizing as wearing a sign that says, "Blame me first." And honestly, that's devastatingly accurate. Now, and this is important, over apologizing does not make you a bad person. That distinction matters enormously. You can apologize constantly and still be kind, smart, funny, deeply good. The apology reflex is not a moral failure, it's a learned habit, and habits can be rewritten. But here's what trips people up: the reflex becomes overconfident. You apologize preemptively for things that haven't even happened yet. You construct an entire future scenario where someone is upset with you, and you say sorry in advance. That's not humility. That's hypervigilance dressed up as niceness. The most healed chronic apologizers I've encountered, the ones who actually seem to move through life differently, have learned to pause, not stop apologizing overnight. That's impossible. But pause, just for 1 second, and ask themselves, did I actually do something wrong? Or did I just exist? Here's something worth sitting with. Apologizing is not the same as taking responsibility. They look similar, but they're different. Responsibility is, I made a mistake. Here's how I'll fix it. Over apologizing is, I am a mistake. Please don't leave. One is action, the other is identity. And if you've been apologizing since childhood, you might not know the difference anymore. So if you're still watching, I want you to hear this. The way you say sorry for everything, for your voice, your needs, your tears, your laughter, your existence, is not because you're weak. It's because you learned to survive. And that same nervous system that learned to apologize can learn something else. Not overnight, not by force, but slowly. Catch yourself. Don't shame yourself. Just say internally, I see you. That was survival. I'm safe now. Replace sorry with thank you. Thank you for waiting. Thank you for listening. Thank you for being here. And grieve. Grieve the child who had to apologize for being a child. You don't need to blame your parents today, but you need to stop carrying the guilt they placed on you. You were not born saying sorry. You were born reaching, laughing, demanding attention. That was real. That was you. The guilt came later, and guilt is not your identity. It's just an old wound. So next time you feel the word sorry rising in your throat for no reason, stop, breathe, and ask yourself, did I actually do something wrong, or did I just take up space? If it's the second one, you don't owe anyone an apology. Not for your voice, not for your needs, not for your beautiful, imperfect, alive existence. You are not a burden. You never were. And it's time to stop apologizing for being here.